Okay. Oh, oh, hi. I just remembered how to fix the eye here. Uh, okay, so I didn't remember, because I didn't know this, but you can hold H to hide objects and control H to unhide. This is just sort of a good example of why it's a good idea to, if you can't figure something out, actually just go to the ZBrush Central forums and just see if anybody else has had a similar problem, and if they have, maybe they've found the solution, or somebody else has. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use their advice, and hey, look at that, awesome. Alright, so now we can actually go back and do what we wanted to do with these eyes. Now, because these eyes have been sort of messed up a bit, what I'm going to do is actually bring in a couple of new spheres and add object again, and I'm just going to try and duplicate the spheres that we've got on screen. So I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to hide that. Scale these down a bit more. Move this into position so that they're pretty close to it. And let's see. So once we get this, these spheres. Come on now. There we go. It's because I'm recording. There is like quite a bit of delay and a little bit of interference from the recording software, but I think that's more or less where I wanted it. So now if I Control H to bring everything back, I will now unmask everything, which is the mistake that I did before. And now I'll hide that, and let's see, if we mask everything, okay, so there, we now have that sphere selected, that misshapen sphere. So now we just flip the mask, and only that sphere is masked. Actually, no. Flip it again so that only that sphere is unmasked, and then we delete. And now we've gotten rid of it. Wow, that was a really tedious way of explaining that. But okay, finally we've got it done. So there we go. So if we now, we want to make sure that these don't get selected. So what I'll do is hide that, mask that, unhide that. There we go. Okay. Whew. So, can you tell that I'm not an expert? Alright, so now we have eyeballs and we have the skin. So, with the eyeball masked out, I'm just going to come in with the move, or the grab tool. I'm just going to make sure that the skin lines up, and this will be a lot better than trying to sort of get everything everything's sort of lined up when it's all being sort of the one object and nothing's really masked. This will actually be a lot easier to do and give us a lot better result. There we go. Let's see, how does that look? Looks alright. Now, because this is my virus database has been updated. Now, because this is an eyelid, it needs to sort of be a nice sort of continuous line. So coming in, and any irregularities, any sort of kinks, if we can take those kinks out and make it a nice sort of smooth curve, the better it's going to look. So let's smooth that up a little bit better. Let's just bring that out. There. You can already see that we're getting a much sort of more realistic look to it. Don't want that to be too sort of too much of a bump there. So it can be a little bit fiddly. And I'll just bring that corner in, maybe not quite such a big brush. So there we go. Now, with that eyelid sort of looking a little bit better, you might notice that there is a very sort of smooth curve here at the top of the eyelid to the eye socket. Now, you'll notice that if you actually look in a mirror or you look at pictures of eyes, that quite often there is sort of the eyelid kind of disappears into this sort of bulge at the top here. But what we can have up here, particularly if the eye isn't open wide, is that we have a crease here, which is often called the occidental fold. And in order to do a fold like that, first going to smooth out any sort of bumps that we can, and then I'm going to come in with the crease brush or crease tool and just sort of create more of a crease here. And anywhere that it's a little bit too sharp, just to smooth it out, because we don't want it to be like too harsh an edge here. Now, so we just want the suggestion of the skin gathering up at the top of the eyelid. While I'm here, I might just sort of make this corner a little bit tighter. Again, smooth that out. Smooth out. And yeah. So I see a lot of this stuff is just sort of just playing around with what you know about anatomy, and a lot of it is sort of stuff that you put in and then smooth out to the point where it's like it didn't even sort of make a difference, but trust me, it does. There is like still that suggestion there of those crow's feet. And I'm just going to introduce a bit of a fold in here and smooth it out. And I'm getting some lag there from the video recording. So you can see that we've got these sorts of very subtle creases here. Like that. And yeah, so much of it is just sort of, it's just brought in and then almost completely erased. Okay, so there we go. And now that we've got some sort of nice crisp lines there, and we've done our sort of sculpting of geometry around here, we can actually take some of this geometry out, just because we don't need that much of it. You notice here, when we take out geometry, those creases become a lot more obvious. Make sure you don't get too close to that eye, because you do need at least some sort of tessellation there to hold that eyelid shape. But further out, as we get sort of more into this wider spaces of the face, just make sure that you blend the amount of polygons back in. If we have a look without the wireframe, you can see that we've got quite a bit of a nice sort of eye shape looking there, and you'll also notice sort of any sort of dimpling or puckering that we need to smooth out, and also this can be a better way to sort of see where there are, I'm actually using the wrong one, where there are sort of slight sort of bumps in the curve of the eyelid, and where you can sort of come in and fix those up. Sometimes when you're fixing up things like that, it's a good idea to move past where you need to go and then sort of slide it back. But yeah, we can't get it sort of, we can't get a perfect look, but we'll get as close as we can, and then we'll sort of come back in and we will make things look better. Now you'll notice that there was like a bit of puckering around this sort of this fold here, so what I'll do is I'll actually come in with the it's because it was on global. I'll actually come in with the smaller size brush here and reintroduce some geometry where I've got these folds, and that's just so that when we smooth out this area here, it really does sort of smooth out instead of smooth fairly sort of large polygons into sharper edges. You can see that makes quite a bit of difference. And that's pretty good. And again, the material that you use will greatly enhance the overall effect that you're going for. So I'll just come back and I'll have a closer look at this mouth, see what I can do about these lips. Wherever I need sort of like a harder edge, I can use the pinch tool. And so there we can get something a bit better. We can even come in here and pinch along the edge of the lip there. And so you can see that we're starting to get just that sort of hard raised area there. And if you aren't getting the result that you want, just come in with the crease with a much lower strength and hold Alt to create more of a ridge. You can see that that definitely gives us a much better suggestion of an edge. So it like that. So there we go. Now that Cupid's bow is a nice curve, but the bow itself is actually a little bit wide. So what I'm going to do is come in here and narrow that curve a bit more like that. So like that. Now if you find that you are getting too much of a sort of a soft round edge there, we can come in with flatten, and I'll just see what it's like with the default setting. It's a little bit hard with the default setting, so if we take the strength down quite a bit, we can come in here and we can more or less sort of smear that edge down, just so that it ends up with a bit more of a flat plane instead of a rounded sort of bulge there. And I might do that here as well, just to sort of give a bit of a sort of a flatter edge along there, rather than a sort of a rounded bulge at the top of the mouth. And as always, sort of always come out and just sort of see how this is looking. And now we've got up here, it looks like sort of eyebrows, or very low sort of Groucho Glass's eyebrows. So I'm just going to reduce these down. Now that we've smoothed it out properly, hopefully it will take some of that, it'll take some of that smoothing, and we won't have to have that geometry there. It's mainly that it put in there so that we can start the smoothing process. And so in the next lesson I might get started on the ear. See you then.